Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins All World, coin lovers. Get ready to dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins because today, we're shining the spotlight on the 1973 Washington quarter dollar. You may think of this as just another coin in circulation, but hold on a second, this coin could be hiding a treasure far more valuable than you ever imagined. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll look at your pocket change in a whole new light. Stick with me as we explore why the 1973 Washington quarter can be worth a jaw-dropping $82,000, so let's take a step back and set the stage. It's 1973, and the United States is in the middle of a rapidly changing time. The country is recovering from the Vietnam War and navigating through the political unrest of the Watergate scandal. Amidst all of this, the U.S. Mint was still hard at work producing everyday currency, including the beloved Washington quarter dollar. The 1973 Washington quarter has a simple design that most people recognize. On the obverse side, we see the iconic profile of George Washington, the first President of the United States. His portrait is framed by the words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," while the date, 1973, is stamped below his likeness. On the reverse, you'll find an eagle, perched proudly, representing the strength and unity of the country. But here's the twist: despite its widespread use, this coin is far from ordinary. In fact, there are specific minting errors and rare features that make certain 1973 Washington quarters incredibly valuable. Let's talk about one of the most significant factors that makes this coin rare: the die cracks. Now, what does that mean? A die crack occurs when there's a fracture in the metal die used to strike the coin. When this happens, it can leave unique markings or cracks in the design of the coin. For the 1973 Washington quarter, these die cracks can sometimes appear in unexpected places, like across the eagle's wings or around the edge of the coin. These subtle but distinct errors make the coin stand out, and they're highly sought after by collectors. In fact, a 1973 Washington quarter with prominent die cracks can make it worth far more than its face value. But that's not the only thing that can make this coin rare. Another important factor is the off-center strikes. When a coin is struck by the minting press but is slightly misaligned, it creates an off-center design. For the 1973 Washington quarter, this can result in a coin where the image of Washington or the eagle is shifted, leaving part of the coin blank. These off-center coins are another highly coveted error, and when you find one in good condition, its value can skyrocket. Now, let's talk about condition, because as with any coin, the better the condition, the higher the value. Most 1973 Washington quarters you'll find today have been circulated, meaning they've gone through years of wear and tear. However, if you happen to find one that's unusual in quality, such as a coin that was preserved in mint state, the value can be dramatically higher. A well-preserved, error-free 1973 Washington quarter might only fetch a modest amount, but a mint-state quarter with a rare error could be worth thousands. So, when you're looking at your coins, remember that condition is everything. But here's the ultimate kicker: what makes a 1973 Washington quarter truly special is when you find one that has both a rare minting error and is in excellent condition. These coins are extremely hard to find, but when you do, they are absolutely prized in the numismatic world. Now, get ready for the big reveal. If you've got a 1973 Washington quarter that features any of the errors we've discussed, or even better, if it's in pristine condition with a minting error, it could fetch you a mind-blowing $82,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $82,000. That's the kind of value these rare coins can command in the market. Whether you've stumbled upon one in your change jar or have an old collection tucked away somewhere, this coin could be a goldmine. So, how can you tell if you've got one of these rare coins in your possession? Start by examining the coin closely. Look for any die cracks or off-center strikes, and pay attention to the condition. If you think you've found something special, get in touch with a professional coin appraiser or visit a local coin shop to get it evaluated. You might just have a coin worth more than you ever imagined. To all the coin collectors out there, this is your reminder to keep your eyes peeled for those subtle details. That 1973 Washington quarter you've overlooked could be worth a small fortune, and the best part is that these coins are still out there, waiting to be discovered. Who knows, maybe you'll be the one to unearth the next $82,000 treasure. Today, we've got something truly extraordinary to talk about, the 1971 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it may seem like just another coin, but let me tell you, there's a lot more to this piece of US history than meets the eye. What if I told you that this coin could be worth a staggering $80,000? Yes, that's right, $80,000, so let's take a deep dive into this unique coin and see why it could be hiding such a massive value. The 1971 Washington quarter is part of the iconic series featuring the profile of George Washington, the first President of the United States. These quarters were produced during an important time in the history of the U.S., right in the early 1970s, a period that marked significant cultural and economic shifts. But beyond the fascinating history, it's the rarity and errors that make this coin so highly prized by collectors today. You see, the 1971 Washington quarter was minted in relatively large quantities, but it's not just the year that matters, it's what happened during the minting process that truly sets these quarters apart. Let's talk about the minting errors that can make a 1971 Washington quarter worth a small fortune. One of the most sought-after error types is the double die obverse. This error happens when the coin is struck multiple times by the die during the minting process, causing the design to be imprinted more than once, slightly off-center. If you've ever seen a quarter with Washington's face looking a little off, or with extra layers of detail, it could very well be a double die. These types of errors make the coin much rarer and more valuable, as they're not something you'll come across every day. If you happen to find one of these double die 1971 Washington quarters, you're looking at something truly special, but that's not all. Another significant error is the off-center strike. Imagine a coin that wasn't perfectly aligned when it was struck, leaving part of the coin blank or misaligned. An off-center 1971 Washington quarter is a unique piece, and collectors are always on the lookout for such oddities. This error can significantly boost a coin's value, depending on how off-center the strike is and the overall condition of the coin. Speaking of condition, let's not forget how crucial this is when it comes to coin value. Most of the 1971 Washington quarters that circulate today have experienced years of wear and tear. But if you're lucky enough to find a quarter from this year in mint condition, then congratulations. A well-preserved 1971 quarter can fetch a much higher value, even without any errors. The key to determining value lies in the coin's grade, from uncirculated to proof-like finishes. A pristine coin in excellent condition will always have a significantly higher worth than one that's been through heavy circulation. Now, let's talk about the real gem, the combination of rarity, minting errors, and impeccable condition. This is what really sets a 1971 Washington quarter dollar apart from the rest. When a coin has both an error and is in mint condition, the price can soar into the tens of thousands of dollars. Collectors know this, and they'll gladly pay a premium for these rare coins. Imagine stumbling upon a double die or off-center 1971 Washington quarter in near-perfect condition. It could be your ticket to an incredible payday. So now, let's get to the exciting part. If you happen to find a 1971 Washington quarter that features one of these rare minting errors or is in exceptional condition, it could be worth a whopping $80,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $80,000. This is the kind of discovery that could change your life, or at the very least, your bank account. But how can you tell if your coin is worth so much? Start by examining the coin carefully. Look for double die errors, off-center strikes, or any signs of wear and tear that could indicate a coin is in mint condition. Don't forget to pay attention to the overall quality of the coin. Well-preserved coins are the ones that attract collectors and buyers looking for rare pieces to add to their collections. In conclusion, the 1971 Washington quarter dollar is far more than just pocket change. Its history, rarity, and potential for error make it an incredibly valuable coin in the world of collectors. If you've got one of these in your possession, especially one with a minting error or in pristine condition, you may have just found yourself a valuable treasure. So, take a moment to check through your collections or your change jar. There could be a fortune waiting for you. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in U.S. history, the 1979 Washington quarter dollar. This isn't just any quarter, my friends. It's a coin that has intrigued collectors for decades and has the potential to be worth a small fortune. Picture this: you're sifting through a jar of loose change, and among the typical quarters, dimes, and nickels, you spot a 1979 Washington quarter. At first glance, it might not seem like much, just another piece of US currency. But wait! Before you toss it aside, let's explore what makes this coin so special, and how it could end up being worth $76,000. Yes, that's right, $76,000. Let's rewind a bit and look at the history of the 1979 Washington quarter. During the late 1970s, the US was going through some significant economic shifts. The 1979 coin was part of the ongoing Washington Quarter series, which has featured the profile of George Washington since 1932. As is often the case with US currency, the Washington Quarter saw a steady flow of coins being produced and distributed throughout the country. Yet, few of these coins stand out the way that the 1979 does. So, what is it that gives the 1979 Washington Quarter its potential for such high value? Well, the 1979 Washington Quarter is particularly notable for a variety of reasons, especially its rarity and the potential for minting errors. Let's talk about the errors first, because this is where the magic happens. One of the most famous and highly sought-after errors found in 1979 Washington quarters is the wide rim variety. Now, what exactly does this mean? When a coin is struck during the minting process, the dies used to create the coin can sometimes malfunction or be incorrectly aligned. This results in the wide rim error, where the edge of the coin is struck too far outward, making the rim noticeably wider than it should be. While this may sound like a small detail, it makes the coin incredibly unique. And in the world of coin collecting, unique is priceless. If you come across a wide rim 1979 Washington quarter, don't let it slip through your fingers. This small imperfection can drastically increase the value of the coin. In addition to the wide rim error, there is another feature that makes the 1979 Washington quarter highly desirable among collectors: the double die obverse error. This is when the die used to strike the coin misfires, resulting in a faint double image of Washington's profile or the text on the coin. These coins, although rare, are treasured because they feature a subtle yet noticeable mistake, making them stand out from the rest of the 1979 quarters. For collectors, the double die obverse error is like finding a hidden gem in a sea of ordinary coins. Of course, when it comes to coin collecting, condition is everything. The value of a coin can skyrocket depending on its preservation. While many 1979 Washington quarters have circulated extensively, if you're lucky enough to come across one in mint or near mint condition, it could be worth a lot more than face value. Pristine quarters, with minimal wear, scratches, or discoloration, are always in high demand among serious collectors. These coins are often graded on a scale from poor to MS 70, mint state 70, which is considered perfect, and the better the grade, the higher the value. A well-preserved 1979 Washington quarter could easily fetch thousands of dollars. Now, let's get to the heart of it. If you happen to find a wide-rim 1979 Washington quarter, or perhaps a double die obverse error coin in perfect condition, you could be looking at a staggering $76,000. That's right, this humble quarter from 1979 could be worth a small fortune. The rarity of these minting errors, combined with the condition of the coin, makes this coin highly desirable to collectors. And as demand for these rare coins continues to rise, their value only increases. But how can you tell if your 1979 Washington quarter is worth this much? Start by inspecting the coin carefully. Look for the wide rim around the edge or check for the telltale signs of a double die obverse. You'll want to look closely at Washington's portrait and the inscriptions on the coin. If they appear blurry, doubled, or misaligned, you may have a double die on your hands. And, of course, the condition is key. If your coin looks brand new with little to no wear, it could be a prime candidate for a higher price. Now that you know what to look for, the next time you're going through your change, don't overlook the 1979 Washington quarter. You could be holding onto something that's worth far more than its face value. Whether it's the wide rim error, the double die obverse, or just a beautifully preserved coin in top-notch condition, the 1979 Washington quarter has the potential to be a hidden treasure. And for a select few, it could mean a $76,000 payday. Remember, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and every coin has its story. Keep your eyes peeled, and you just might uncover the next big find. Today, we're about to dive into the fascinating world of a specific coin that might just be sitting in your collection right now, the 1970 Washington quarter dollar. This unassuming quarter, which was minted over 50 years ago, could be worth a staggering $77,000 to the right collector. Yes, you heard that right, $77,000. Let's take a closer look at why this coin, often overlooked and passed over in the world of coin collecting, has become such a sought-after prize for collectors. When we think of quarters, many of us picture the standard coins that we use daily, used, worn, and with little value beyond their face value. But, as is often the case in the world of numismatics, there's more to this story. A small number of these 1970 Washington quarters have certain rare features and minting errors that make them highly desirable, and yes, incredibly valuable. The 1970 Washington quarter was produced during a time when the United States Mint was busy cranking out millions of coins to meet the growing demand for currency. Yet, despite the high mintage numbers, very few coins from this year have maintained their original beauty, and even fewer have survived in pristine condition. For collectors, the state of preservation is a crucial factor in determining a coin's value. So, if you happen to find a 1970 Washington quarter in exceptional condition, you might already have something valuable on your hands, but let's go beyond just condition. What really elevates the 1970 Washington quarter in the eyes of collectors are the rarity and minting errors that occasionally crop up. One such error that has sent collectors into a frenzy is the double die obverse error. What's a double die obverse, you ask? This occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, resulting in the design being struck multiple times. This creates a double image effect, making the features of the coin, like George Washington's profile or the year, 1970, appear faintly duplicated. These double die obverse errors are some of the most exciting and valuable types of errors in coin collecting. If you come across a 1970 Washington quarter with this distinctive double strike, then you may have a coin worth considerably more than its face value. Such error coins are not just rare, they're incredibly sought after by collectors, making them worth exponentially more. In addition to the double die obverse error, the 1970 Washington quarter also has another layer of appeal due to its overall rarity and mint condition. Since the production of coins in this period was high, and quarters were widely circulated, most of them ended up worn, scratched, or damaged over the years. If you manage to find a 1970 Washington quarter that is well preserved, with clear details and minimal wear, you've got a rare find. Collectors are always on the lookout for these pristine examples, as they're harder to come by than you might think. Now, you're probably wondering, what exactly does this all mean for the value of the 1970 Washington quarter? Well, in the world of rare coins, condition and rarity are the keys to unlocking value. If you find a double die obverse 1970 Washington quarter in near mint condition, that coin could fetch up to a $77,000 price tag. Yes, this seemingly ordinary coin, with a little bit of luck and the right conditions, could turn into a windfall for any lucky collector. So, how can you tell if your 1970 Washington quarter is worth this much? First, inspect the mint mark. Most quarters from 1970 are marked with AD for the Denver Mint or AS for the San Francisco Mint. These two mints produce the majority of the coins, and the key to identifying valuable examples lies in the condition and any potential errors. Next, take a close look at the design elements, especially George Washington's portrait and the date. If you notice any doubling, misalignment, or extra images, you may have a double die obverse error coin, which could be worth a fortune. Additionally, it's essential to know that coins in unblemished condition, such as those with sharp, clean edges, glossy finishes, and minimal to no wear, are more valuable. A MS 65 or higher graded coin, meaning it is close to perfect, could push the price even higher. Coin grading is an important part of understanding how much your coin is worth, and many collectors and dealers rely on professional grading services to assign a grade to their coins. If you've stumbled upon a 1970 Washington quarter in your collection or in your pocket change, take the time to carefully examine it. Look for those subtle signs of rarity, the double die obverse error or the high-quality mint condition, and you could be holding on to a valuable piece of history. Don't let its humble appearance fool you. This coin has the potential to make you a small fortune. To recap, the 1970 Washington quarter stands out in the world of numismatics not only for its unique characteristics and minting errors but also for its rarity and the potential for being in pristine condition. With double die obverse errors and other subtle flaws, this coin has become a must-have for serious collectors, with some examples fetching prices of up to $77,000. Today, we're diving into a true treasure that might just be sitting in your collection or even tucked away in your pocket change, the 1990 Washington quarter dollar. While most of us are used to seeing these coins as nothing more than a simple form of currency, this particular year of the Washington quarter has a fascinating story to tell, and if you've got one in your hands, you might be holding on to something truly valuable. Now, let's start by taking a step back in time. The 1990 Washington quarter was minted at a time when the U.S. Mint was producing a large number of these coins, and you'd think that would mean they'd be easy to find and, well, not very valuable. But hold on, because it's the rarity, specific characteristics, and minting errors that make this coin so special, and we're about to explore exactly why this seemingly ordinary coin could be worth a jaw-dropping $66,000. It's not just about having a 1990 Washington quarter in your collection. It's about understanding why some of these coins are worth far more than their face value and how certain features and errors can cause their price to skyrocket. The first thing to note is that the 1990 Washington quarter has certain qualities that make it stand out. Although the U.S. Mint produced millions of these coins in 1990, very few of them have survived in pristine condition. For collectors, finding a 1990 Washington quarter that's in uncirculated or mint state condition is extremely exciting. Let's break this down a little further. When it comes to coins, condition is key. If you happen to find a 1990 Washington quarter with minimal wear, no signs of scratches, and crisp, sharp details, then you've found a high-quality specimen. Coins in uncirculated condition are always more valuable, as they're harder to find than coins that have been circulated for decades. The design of the Washington quarter, which features a profile of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, needs to be clearly visible, without the wear and tear that naturally occurs when a coin is used in everyday transactions. If you find one with flawless details, you're looking at a coin with significant potential value, but let's not stop there. There's more to the story than just quality condition. One of the most exciting aspects of the 1990 Washington quarter is the potential for minting errors. Minting errors are one of the most intriguing parts of coin collecting. These errors happen during the production process, and they result in coins that are different from the standard issue. These can be anything from misaligned dies, double strikes, to off-center coins. Among the errors that collectors are particularly drawn to in the 1990 Washington quarter is the double die error. A double die error happens when the die used to strike the coin isn't perfectly aligned, and the result is a design that appears twice, one over the other, creating a doubled effect. This error is especially noticeable on the date and the motto, E pluribus unum. If you're lucky enough to find a double die 1990 Washington quarter, you could be sitting on a highly valuable coin. In fact, these coins can demand higher prices because they're so rare and unusual, with some specimens selling for thousands of dollars at auction. Another possible error to look for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned in the minting machine, causing part of the design to be missing or misaligned. An off-center 1990 Washington quarter can create a very unique and interesting look, making it highly desirable to collectors who specialize in error coins. These types of errors can significantly increase the value of a coin, sometimes making them worth far more than a coin in perfect condition, but it's not just about errors. The 1990 Washington quarter is also special due to the year itself. The 1990 coin marks the final years of a specific minting series, and collectors often become more interested in coins that mark the end of an era or a significant milestone. As time passes, more people begin to appreciate the value of coins from specific years, especially those that are rare or have unique characteristics. This historical context adds another layer of appeal to the 1990 Washington quarter for serious collectors. Now, let's talk about grading. When it comes to coin collecting, grading is an essential part of determining value. The condition of a coin is rated on a scale, and the higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. A coin that's graded MS 65 or higher is considered to be in mint condition, meaning it has no noticeable wear or imperfections. Coins with higher grades are rarer and far more valuable, and they attract higher offers at auctions and from collectors. If you've got a 1990 Washington quarter in exceptional condition, especially one with a minting error or special feature, you could be looking at a coin worth far more than you initially expected. So, what's the bottom line? If you find a 1990 Washington quarter in pristine condition with no signs of wear, or if you discover one with a double die error or an off-center strike, then you could be holding a coin that's worth $66,000. Yes, this coin, which may seem like just another quarter at first glance, has the potential to bring in an incredible sum. Remember, collectors are always looking for those rare, high-quality, and error-filled coins, and the 1990 Washington quarter is a prime example of a coin that fits the bill. So next time you go through your pocket change, take a good look at any 1990 Washington quarters you come across. You might just be holding on to a piece of history, and possibly a small fortune. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. Make sure to subscribe for more valuable coin insights and tips. Who knows, the next hidden gem could be right under your nose. Happy collecting!